Hi, I'm Laura D Pusey, the founder of Dippism Death in Practice, and this is the channel where we are talking the things on dying, death, life, and grief. Each week I answer a question and I say it as I see it, because I've seen a lot. In the last video, I answered the question, do I have to forgive? If you have any questions about that video or you want me to answer a question for you, send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Okay, now let us open the veil of luminescence. With the intention of infinite truths, by the pulse of sacred light, I call forth the veil of luminescence. I anchor this veil in sovereign light to transmute and contain all energetic imprints, attachments, and residues across all realms. The material plane, where grief etches into the body. The emotional plane, where sorrow swells and purges. The mental plane, where stories of loss seek resolution. The astral plane, where echoes of the departed linger. The interdimensional corridors, where ancestral and cosmic threads intertwine. The parallel universes, where grief and grace mirror each other. This veil, woven of remembrance and radiance, is encoded with clarity to discern what is yours and what is not. Containment to protect your field. Compassion to honour the sacred work of grief. Transmutation to alchemize pain into wisdom. Let this veil shimmer between worlds, holding space for the divinity of each soul, the teachings where presence dissolves suffering, the soul's awakening where death births depth, the healing where grief becomes grace. This veil is not a wall but a sacred membrane, allowing only what aligns with truth, love, and remembrance to pass through. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light. Hiya, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your being here with me for today's lecture. So let's get into it. In 1994, the very flawed prophetess Mary J. Blige told us that all she really wanted was to be happy. She thought that finding a love that was hers would be so sweet, and many of us echoed those words in agreement. But how many of us are truly happy, especially if those that we have loved unconditionally have died or left us? In this lecture, I'm going to explain why happiness eludes us. We often think that our worries, depressions, anxieties, and miseries are our own fault or the fault of those around us. But what if I told you that we are being kept in a low mood for another reason? In August 2001, I and my 2-year-old daughter flew out to New York for Labor Day. I had been previously, and it had been straight raving, but I knew that this year would be different as I had a baby in tow. I just didn't expect what happened. Fortunately, Even though I wasn't expecting it, I wasn't surprised when the World Trade Center and subsequent buildings came down in controlled demolitions that became the justification for wars, invasions, and assassinations. Conversations that I had previously had with work colleagues had opened my eyes and prepared me for the spiritual and psychological journey that I was about to embark upon, one that I am still on because we never stop learning. When I returned to the UK, I headed straight for the rabbit hole and pieced together more information about the true nature of these orchestrated attacks. A news segment that had been uploaded to YouTube explained that the levels of fear in the air when the homegrown attack took place had spiked on that day and the days following as people digested their shock, disbelief, and fear over the death and destruction that they believed they had witnessed. For the Americans and many people throughout the earth, their sense of peace and security had been rocked and shattered, and the desire for retaliation was wholly supported. The reason why I am sharing this with you is because the story that had played out before our eyes during 9/11 was actually a complete fabrication, designed in part to generate a great deal of fear energy into the atmosphere. The authorities had the technology back in 2001, that's well over 20 years ago, to read and note a very distinct and sharp increase in fear energy. But why would they need this? What purpose would this serve, and who thought it would be a great idea? Furthermore, who's reading the measurements and what is being done with the data that it is generating? I realized at this point that someone, somewhere, was invested in our fear. But what is fear? Well, in short, it starts and ends in our minds. It can be a protective, life-saving mechanism. However, more often than not, fear is a powerful, low vibrational force that triggers our fight or flight response. It can provide a sudden surge of adrenaline, but it can also paralyze us, leaving us exhausted and cause us to make poor decisions. If you look at the news and social media today, you will see that most of the stories we are fed are negative, fear-based, and very low in inspiration or encouragement, joy or happiness. Everything is processed through our minds, but the music is low quality, glorifying death, drugs, murder, and fear. And our television shows have degraded relationships, sex, and the family to such a low level that even the most basic tenets of love, respect, and dignity are viewed as a weakness, a failing, and straight up nonsense. The air we breathe and the water we drink are polluted. The food we eat is one notch above poisonous, and the social work ethic relies on toxic systems designed to drain your life force over the course of 50 odd years. Our children are not fully ours, and neither are our own lives. So, can we ever be happy? Do any of us actually know what true happiness is? Well, my answer is quite sad in itself, because I would say yes, we can be happy. Do we know what happiness is? No. But when you consider all that we've been through over the most recent hundreds of the trillions of years that we have been on Earth, I'm speaking of those primarily from the global majority. People who look like myself, commonly described as black. When we get together, we have so much fun. We are a naturally happy people, and we make joy out of the smallest and most seemingly insignificant things. It is in our nature to be loud and to laugh, be happy and caring, and to raise the energy on sad occasions. Just look at our funerals, our dances and parties. We know how to celebrate life. Unfortunately, this natural and innate ability is a threat because the energy that we generate when we are together and vibing high with happiness, joy, and laughter is enough to wipe out lower vibrating civilizations in this and other realms and dimensions. We are not alone. It is what it is. You can do your own research on this. We literally are too much, especially us Jamaicans and the Nigerians. We're like batteries, all of us. We are batteries, and we have a huge supply of current. Maybe it's the magic of our melanin. We are therefore being purposefully stored in controlled low energy environments and forced to limit ourselves, our abilities, our energy, and our personalities. For example, the last job I had was for a mental health charity where I was told that I was over-promising, over-ambitious, and overreaching. I knew less than 2 weeks in that I wouldn't last long when I was accused of smoking weed in the premises. But that's a story for another day. I remember when I was younger in the 90s, there was an act passed that classified more than 2 people gathered together on the road as a gang. The act allowed police to treat these groups on the street as potential threats and search them without reasonable suspicion under Section 60 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act. This act targeted the young, and more specifically black males, as more and more of our youth centres were closed and places of safety where we were supposed to socialise were increasingly underfunded. And we wonder why our youths are in trouble. We all exist in a constant fight or flight state of grief, whether we know it or not. There has long been an investment in our misery, our killing of one another, our self-hatred, our backbiting. But we haven't really helped ourselves either. In short, we fear each other, and even worse, we fear ourselves, and dare not think of how amazing we could be. It's by design. United we should stand, but divided we are. A long while ago, I came to the realization that slavery never ended. It was extended. No longer concentrated, everyone, black and white alike, became a slave to the systems of control that provided the illusion of freedom. We all stopped using our mind and fell under a form of control that had us looking outside of ourselves for our happiness. Our natural chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline and so many more were scientifically used against us to keep us all on edge and productive for a system that works off the lowest of our vibrations. It starts and ends in our minds. That's why the prophet Robert Nesta Marley told us to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. He believed that none but ourselves could free our mind, which is why I urge you to pay keen attention to your precious self. Look deeply within. Your happiness is there, And in the words of the great Nunu Queenie beloved, if you find more misery, chuck it out and replace it with joy. Take time with yourself. Take time with your grief and take time to look within. I know it's not that easy. As people, we have a lot of work to do, but it is a joyful and rewarding work if you look within yourself for your happiness. You are allowed to be selfish. No one other than yourself has your peace. No one is responsible for your happiness. Not your partner, your parents, no family nor friends. It's within you to discover and then share. We can eliminate the toxicity from our bloodlines if we do the personal work to find our inner joy. By the way, if someone you love has died and you don't think that you will ever be able to laugh, smile, or enjoy life again, you may just be surprised one day as you find yourself doing just that. Grief is a process that we all move through. We move at our own speed and in our own time. If you do find yourself in a happy mood or smiling one day at memories of the past or new present experiences, please don't be alarmed. You are still alive and it's okay. I'm sure the person you are mourning wouldn't want you to continue living your life in complete misery. Taking them with you is knowing what they did or would have said in the situations that tickle you. It's remembering the little jokes or ways that they would do or say something and keeping them by your side when you need the extra energy that they provide, whether they are alive or in the unseen realms. Look within and you will find them there, alongside every inch of your new relationship, waiting to be re-experienced from this new perspective in your life. Yes, it continues. The bond doesn't have to break. Remember, I tell you at the start of every video, I say it as I see it because I've seen a lot. This video is very controversial and it will get up the noses of people who don't look like we. But a soddy ting set. These are my thoughts. Please do your own research and form your own conclusions. If you have any thoughts about anything in this video and you want to share them with me, then send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Please state clearly whether or not any of your email can be shared. If you would like to have a one-to-one with me or one of my grief practitioners, contact us at www.dippism.com. The workbooks Tapestries of Grief and My Life's Tapestry are available on Amazon, and the basic Dippism end-of-life course that helps you to assist those at the end of their lives, and the Dippism Cultural Grief Awareness course that helps you to assist those who are grieving are now both available online. If someone you know needs to see this video or would benefit from end of life or grief services, don't be a gatekeeper. Don't. Share the video with them. All of my links are in the description box below. I will say one love. Take care of yourself. You are unique. You are you. You're perfect, just as you are. This world has us believing that we are wrong, guilty, lazy, and just altogether useless. We're not. They need us. Our energy powers every system single system, literally. Let us now close the veil of luminescence. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I honour the veil of luminescence now fulfilled. This veil, once summoned to transmute and contain, has held the field with clarity, compassion, and sovereign light. As the teachings settle and the soul integrates, I call forth the sacred closure of this veil across all realms. On the mental plane, let the body rest in renewal. On the emotional plane, let sorrow soften into spaciousness. On the mental plane, let stories find stillness. On the astral plane, let echoes return to source. Through interdimensional corridors, let threads untangle. Across spheres and planetary systems, allow contracts to be honoured and released. Let all residues now return to their rightful place, dissolved, dispersed, or transmuted by sovereign light. Let the veil fold inward, encoded with discernment to preserve what is true, containment to seal what is sacred, compassion to cradle what remains tender, and wisdom to carry forth what has been alchemized. This veil is reabsorbed into the soul's archive, a luminous record of presence, grief, and transformation. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light.